We had conversations. I felt there were strong first steps. We have expectations we made clear in those conversations. I respect very much that Panama has a process. They're a democratically elected government. They have rules, they have laws, they're going to follow their process, but our expectations remain the same. In particular on that, I would just say that the United States has a treaty obligation to protect the Panama Canal if it comes under attack. That treaty obligation would have to be enforced by the armed forces of the United States, particularly the U.S. Navy. I find it absurd that we would have to pay fees to transit a zone that we are obligated to protect in a time of conflict. Those are our expectations. They were clear. They were clearly understood in those conversations. But I respect very much the fact that Panama has a process of laws and procedures that they need to follow as it relates to the Panamanian Canal authorities. We'll allow them to work through those processes. We intend to make it amicable the way our visits were. As far as the U.S. aid, a couple points. The goal of our endeavor has always been to identify programs that work and continue them, and to identify programs that are not aligned with our national interests and identify those and address them. So we have sent out guidance to those deployed abroad that they will be on leave of absence, not fired, leave of absence as of Friday. And then we made very clear in the message, it's there and it's written in the message that was posted, that if there are exceptional circumstances regarding family or displacement, or maybe the person, their spouse is employed in the embassy, so they're co-located and their children are in school, there is room and space for that. We also made clear in the guidance that there would be specially designated programs that would not be a part of that order. And we are working through the process of identifying them now, what those specially designated programs are, and we will continue to work through the process of finding them. The third point I would make is that people were given 30 days that we would help bring them home if they so desire during that 30-day period. And at the same time, the expectation, as I said, that if they have a special condition or something's going on, we didn't list them all, but we're willing to listen to those. We're not trying to be disruptive to people's personal lives. We're not being punitive here. But this is the only way we've been able to get cooperation from USAID. I had preferred not to do it this way. When we tried to do it from the top down by getting cooperation from the central office of USAID, what we found instead are people trying to use the system to sneak through payments and push through payments despite the stop order. We found people that were uncooperative in terms of giving us information and access, all very consistent with some of the things we experienced while we were in Congress. And so we've had to do this other route instead. But we are going to do foreign aid. The United States will be providing foreign aid, but it is going to be foreign aid that makes sense and is aligned with our national interest. And I know the last question wasn't for me, but I want to address that as well. Number one, the United Nations is sitting on $100 million in their fund. The United States has provided 15 of the $100 million for that fund. Okay? Only 13 million of that is currently frozen. That means they still have $85 million plus the 1 point something million they spent that we already have in there available for the mission. That's clear. And that's not an impediment to the mission continuing. Beyond the UN fund, I've issued a waiver providing for the use of, I think it's close to $40 million of additional support. And those contracts are out there and they're working now. They're providing logistical support both to the mission and to the Haitian National Police. Those are facts. So I could just say that's a pretty strong commitment, and it's certainly a lot stronger commitment than some of the other rich countries around the world who aren't doing nearly as much. By the way, it's a credit to Kenya, who's come halfway around the world and are willing to stand up and do something about it, when countries in our own hemisphere, they're not willing to do anything about it. And I don't want to go through and list all of them and start some diplomatic fight my 2.5 weeks into my term here, but I'm just telling you there's some rich countries out there and they're not doing nearly enough about it, and they could be doing more. So I encourage them to do more.